Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. I'm always so glad to see you here and spend some time with you as we look into some things. This is my midweek Wednesday check-in on the political front with you all. Taping this early Wednesday morning about 8 o'clock Eastern time, so who knows what will have happened by the time many of you land on this. The posts usually go live in the afternoon on Eastern time. But anyway, couple of things. I've been doing it lately. You all are enjoying it, so we're going to keep it going with we'll start out with a little bit of good news, and then we'll look at something maybe a little thicker. We'll go to spirit on that. By the way, if you are not familiar with me and you just landed on the channel, welcome. Glad to have you here. I'm a Fefe with Touch by Tarot and Beyond. I do mostly political readings. I do some full moon and new moon readings as well. You can check that out. I have a playlist for those on the platform on the channel. Let's see. I have a membership, and we do part of the bonus offering for that with my membership is I do a live private Zoom meeting once a month. Glad to have you around for that. There's a link in the description box for how to join in on that if you're interested. As far as my background, I'm a former newspaper journalist, so you kind of get an idea how I try to approach my readings, try to stay grounded, and I'm an initiated priestess in Wiccan and African traditions. So I kind of try to, always stay tapped in on that level. All right, you all, a couple of things. On the good news front, how about I found a piece, maybe some of you have as well. NPR has said, and Spirit said this some months ago, it with the big, beautiful, can't even get that word out my mouth, the big ugly bill. And the cuts to Medicaid, etc. And we knew that especially in red states and rural areas, those were going to be some of the most hard hit with those losses. Well, lo and behold, just as Spirit said, there's a story that just came out through NPR that said there are collectives that are forming among particularly rural areas across the nation where they are starting to form their own private networks. Some of them are turning into nonprofits where they are going to, coalesce and build their resources financially and their human resources, their doctors, etc., to continue to provide services in the wake of what's happening on the federal level. So that's and Spirit said that was going to happen, that increasingly it would be the people who would come together and save one another from some of these dire consequences. So really good news. Nice to hear about that. We heard also, even though the media refused to cover it, we knew it, the workers over billionaires protests on Labor Day over social media has kept us abreast of that, and I've seen estimates anywhere from 500,000 to 1 million people, at least 1,000 different protests in cities and areas across the nation. Incredible turnout, you all. I think it's important. Again, we know major media is not covering it because they're frightened, and they think they're going to be targeted and lose their jobs. Whatever. Their responsibility to the public. Okay, clearly you picked a team, right? But that said, I do think that it gives us, and Spirit has said, that message needs to continue to get out there and spread that people are acting, that the people's voices are still being heard. So that's some great news. And this kind of surprising news, last piece of the good news section. So the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, you all, ruled against 40, I don't know what to call them today. Let's stay with Cankles, all right? Cankles' use of the Alien Enemies Act to deport particularly Venezuelans, but also in general, just invoking the Alien Enemies Act as a pretext to, just boom, gather up and deport people. The Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals has denied that and blocked that effort by Cankles' administration. Now, I find that really interesting, and again, Spirit has said, watch for this because it's going to go to SCOTUS. A lot of things are going to happen with SCOTUS in the coming months, and we'll be looking at that particularly as well around voting rights. But here's the deal. The Fifth Circuit is one of, if not the most conservative appeals courts in the nation. It is comprised of people from judges from Louisiana. I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget. Louisiana, Mississippi, and Texas. Okay? Right? like Louisiana, Mississippi, and Texas. So the Fifth Circuit, for the Fifth Circuit to come out and say this was unlawful, you cannot use the Alien Enemies Act. That was a bit of good news. All right, you all, all that out of the way, I want to take a look at what Cankles is going to do. The 2-week deadline around Putin and Putin making some sort of effort or move to advance peace talks with Ukraine has passed. Came and went. Like Ben came and went, right? And while he's been buying time, we saw Putin and Kim Jong Un and went to China to hang out with Jinping. And that military parade that they put on for the end of commemorating the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II. Woo, you all, when I tell you, you already know it. I know you feel it. Cankles he has had to order an extra Big Mac with an extra bit of patty on it with some extra cheese and extra mayo, like the super large fries. Like, he is in a state around this. Why? Because, for instance, Spirit is saying, remember, Kim Jong Un, who is super paranoid, doesn't want to go anywhere in North Korea, doesn't get on a plane, took his armored train 20 hours to go and make sure that he was a part of this thing, this to do. Now, Modi from India, I don't think he took part in the military parade part, but he was there earlier to collaborate with Putin and Jinping, right? So, and Biden worked really hard to establish relations with and solidify relations with India and with Modi. That's extremely important, you all. But more than anything, I know that Cankles is furious at, number one, the display of that military parade, which was amazing. And in the wake of the flop that he had for his birthday, that was supposed to be paying tribute to the armed forces. But I want to take a look and see, what is he going to do in response to this? Is he going to come out in any way, actually with sanctions against Russia? Is he going to forcefully, say or advance a certain stance with Putin? Will he try and cozy up more, or like, well, you really do still love me, right? I know I saw you do all that stuff with Jinping and the fellows over there, but you really love me. All right, I've got the page, they call it Curiosity. For my readers out there, I'll be using the Rosebud Tarot today. Curiosity of Cups. That's a page of cups. His feelings got hurt. Cankles he is genuinely, okay, he, as I said in the title, he's alive but not well. He's genuinely feeling the pressure of being isolated. Now, will that make him use some sense? We have strength. He's gonna bluster. As it relates to Putin, though, there is some sort of bluster. There is some sort of blowback. Strength is coming. Now, what does that mean, Spirit? How exactly, please help me see, how exactly will, you know who I mean by Cankles, how exactly will he, what are his next steps regarding Putin in the wake of him seeing Putin with all of those leaders in China? The Three of Pentacles. All right. He's not, I get it. He's going to send more, he's going to try and use quote unquote diplomacy, but I don't see this as him. I see this as him continuing to try and do back channels with people he deems, I don't think this is Witkoff. I don't know who this is, you all. I'm being honest, but it feels, Spirit is saying that Three of Pentacles is a card of collaboration. It's where, okay, we still need to work some things out together. I think he's going to try and send people who he thinks will be received well by Putin to try and keep those channels open. So diplomacy is what he's not sanctions, not really tough talk. He may talk it out of one side of his mouth, but six of cups comes up. That's a card of nostalgia. It's interesting. They talk about him, Cankles, being sort of stuck in the 80s, right? He's stuck that way in his processing of the relationships that he thinks he has as well. So the six of cups, you all, I think what Spirit is saying is he's still holding on to an idea or a sense that he has of what, okay, I know you did that, Putin, because you basically had to go play the game, but I'm really your guy. That kind of holding on to that idea. So bottom line, you all, I don't see him waking up. There was a time period not long ago when with all of the flip flopping, Cankles came out and said, well, Putin tells me one thing and then he turns around and sends more bombs, and so he's proving that he's not trustworthy. Like, that was the toughest talk we had seen come from him, regarding Putin. But then he went through the whole song and dance in Alaska, la 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 la. Nothing came of it. Nothing came of it. And Spirit has said then and now that efforts at peace talks through Cankles was never going to actually amount to anything. So, bottom line, Eight of Pentacles. He's going to continue to stall, buy time, and try and find a way to reestablish his ties with Putin. He refuses to give up on that because he needs him. He needs Putin way more than Putin needs him at this point, and he knows that. And the fact that he feels like Putin is his boy. Thank you, Spirit. He feels like ultimately Putin is his boy. So the fact that Putin was hanging out with those, with Jinping and crew, and Kim Jong Un, et cetera, in China, if anything, he's thinking, I can use that to my advantage. That's what Cankles is thinking, because Putin is my boy. So he'll give me information, or we'll be able to work some things out, because wink wink, I know at the end of the day he's really gonna look out for me. That's that Six of Cups energy, you all, and it has a sort of delusional aspect to it, which I know many of you are like, duh, doesn't surprise me a bit. So bottom line, he is really seething, green with envy and seething over what he saw happen in China, with all of the leaders from 20-something countries came out. That military parade was on point. If you saw the clips from it, like, it was everything he wanted his birthday parade to be, and more, way more, right? All right. But I don't see anything really coming out of it. Oops, a couple cards fell. All right. The other thing I want to look at today, you all, is we know that the Epstein victims were in behind doors with on Congress at Congress yesterday on the Hill. We heard Nancy Mace fell apart, went flying up the hallway, crying and snotting because she has been victimized. I think that was a real moment. No sympathy for Nancy Mace necessarily for everything she's said and done and continues to say and do. Even in the wake of that, she's, Cankles is our hero, but bad people who commit, who harm women are bad people. Yeah. All right. Here's what I want to look at, you all. There's so much focus that's being placed on the fact that these victims, Epstein victims, are being willing to come forward, or are feeling compelled to come forward and speak their piece. But here's what I'm getting. Two things. One, we know that the deal that got cut with Ghislaine, with Maxwell, was that if she gave testimony or deposition, testimony to Blanche that exonerated Cankles, and you had James Comer, who came out to the press yesterday and used that exact word and said, well, we already know Maxwell has made it clear, and she did exonerate Cankles because that was her deal. That's the deal that they made. You want a pardon? You gotta do an Oscar-worthy performance, dear, and make sure that he sounds like an angel compared to whatever else happened. And she did that. Here's the thing. These women testifying, the victims testifying, Spirit is saying there's two things that are happening here. That testimony is not going to do a lot of good if they do not name Cankles as a part of this. If they are testifying as to the crimes committed by Epstein and Ghislaine, then yeah, that might put her her pardon in jeopardy. Ghislaine's pardon, potential pardon, in jeopardy. But what does it do for Cankles? And highlighting the fact that he was a part of this. That's what I want to go to Spirit for, you all. Is anything going to come out of this testimony from Epstein's victims that is proof, or that is used to solidify the role that Cankles played as his friend, colleague, etc.? Will we hear something? Will something come out? Will they be able to offer something? We have the Queen of Pentacles. So they are going to offer a lot of insight. And they will generate, there will be a lot of sympathy generated towards these victims in terms of the continued push, even among conservative members of Congress, to do the right thing and release the files. We have the Fool. There is a twist here, you all. Because my question, the question we're going to Spirit to say, is there anything that they're going to offer that really, in an irrefutable way, points to Cankles? The Fool says, this could go in a new direction. This could really go in a new direction. And the Queen of Wands, because this is women, this is the divine feminine, and we know that not only Mace and MTG are on board with the Democrats to try and force the release of these files, perhaps to even try and force a vote. They need 5 Republicans to join with the Democrats in order to force a vote to produce the files, for the DOJ to produce all of the files. But there's something in these women, and Ace of Pentacles. There is something that's going to come out that definitely ties Cankles into this. And because we saw this feminine energy, Pentacles and Wands, so this is among the victims. But I also I'm still getting pulled back to women in Congress who are just going to feel compelled, almost beyond themselves, like whose loyalty counts the most, right? Are you willing to really fall on that sword to continue to cover for Cankles? And that Ace of Pentacles, along with the Fool, it definitely, there's something that's going to come out of this, you all, that even if one of them does not say, again, for entertainment purposes only, even if we don't hear something or something revealed as strongly as Cankles actually was in the room, which maybe, there's going to be such a the nine of swords, because they are terrified. Any one of them is terrified of actually identifying him in that capacity, Cankles in that capacity. That understandable, but there seems to be enough there to be able to put 2 and 2 together and understand this idea that he was just some far off, distant friend who nobody ever saw. He didn't play a role. That's not going to fly, you all. That's not going to fly. And the 4 of Cups comes because there's an effort. This, I feel, is Johnson et al., who know that ultimately they're trying to continue to recast and reframe something where the evidence is simply too far down the road. And these, with that Fool, there's more coming. And keeping in mind as well that as of the 8th of September, I think is the date, that's when the Epstein estate is supposed to turn over its documents. Because what I'm getting, Spirit, will the DOJ turn over the full documents? Will they actually turn over all the files? Will they be ordered to do that? It's going to be a legal fight. They call it balance. That's the justice card. They're going to continue to fight it. And they're going to continue to fight it. The Three of Pentacles is back. So they're going to continue to play this long game of we are complying. What are you talking about? We just turned over a whole bunch of documents. But among those documents, which ones were redacted? Remember, they were given the orders. Go through these files and anything that mentions Cankles' name, you know what you need to do, right? But the Justice card, you all, is indicating they are going, with the midterms coming, thank you, Spirit. With the midterms coming, their goal, similar to Cankles' goal with all of his pending trials that were in play during the campaigning for the presidential election. So it's the same play that they've put in motion, you all. Delay, delay, delay. They are going to delay for the foreseeable future, or they will continue to drip, drip, drip to appear as, that they are complying and they are turning things over, but it will not be anything that offers any real revelation, and that is going to bite them in the butt. They think they are buying time for these midterms so that they can sway people's sentiments in addition to try and impact the ability of people to vote. But it is building up such a sense of rage, is what Spirit is saying, and a sense of being a betrayal and being duped, that it absolutely is going to backfire on them 100%. All right, you all. Finally, I want to close out with Pritzker in Chicago. We saw that, even though Cankles turned up on camera yesterday, like, who said who said that happened? Who said I wasn't here? I'm here clearly. Yeah, it didn't look too good though. But right after that press conference, we had one as well. We saw that Pritzker came out, also with the mayor of Chicago. But Pritzker, J.B. Pritzker, Spirit. He looks strong but worried. And it's interesting, after I just shuffled, I got the Five of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. The King of Pentacles, that's him. Really, really feeling protective and wanting to assert to the full extent the protection that he can offer to the state of Illinois, but also recognizing that he's one man. You know what I mean? That he's one man, and even though he has the support of other governors who are aligning around this issue and who know, for that matter, that they're next. Kathy Hochul in New York, they're next. And we have the Eight of Pentacles. So I'm getting, you all, Pritzker is going to improve, deploy, mitigate through state crime prevention, police, highway patrol, etc. He's going to mobilize everything at his disposal to continue to emphasize the fact that, look, there is no need for you to send the military here. There is no need for military intervention. I've got this. He's keenly aware of the picture, that the Nine of Pentacles, exactly. But this is costing money, and this is costing money that's the worry that he had. That's why we saw that Five of Pentacles. That's how we started out. Thank you, Spirit. Here's the deal. Unlike California, say, where there is tremendous wealth, right? And there is an ability to put something, like we saw the redistricting map, that's going to cost a heck of a lot of money, but they've got it. They can get it. They know they can get it. Pritzker is facing a different thing economically in Illinois. I know I've read that even, school districts, etc., have been undergoing severe funding issues in the state of Illinois. So for him to up the ante, that 8 of Earth, with forces, state utilized forces, is going to cost money that in his budget right now he may not necessarily have. That's the stress. It's not that he doesn't have a plan. It's not that he doesn't know how to execute the plan. It really does come down to how under an already strained budget, how much do I have to up the ante? Because we know this side over here has what, 170 billion to play with. And yeah. All right, and I've got the Emperor. But I will say this, Pritzker is genuine. He will absolutely fight. This is coming down to him making sure that his voice is continually heard. We will see a lot of him in the press and on the news. We will see him, his media people, in overdrive to drive home the message that he is in fact doing everything he can. Thank you, Spirit. I have my Ace of Wands to confirm I'm on the right track with that. So Pritzker is going to do everything he can in terms of his messaging, in terms of his strategy. I also get that he may be getting, Spirit, will he get some input, or will there be a like a coordinated effort among governors to assist him? 6 of Wands. Yeah. There's a collaboration, and I'm not sure. Remember, even Beto O'Rourke, I think is his name. He was coming up with money when the Dems in Texas said, we're not gonna vote, so we'll leave town. And O'Rourke's organization was raising money to help them in that effort. I'm almost getting some energy around that, you all. There may be a concerted effort to help with the military, with the funding that's necessary for Pritzker to mount, this sort of counteract to what Cankles said point blank. I'm gonna do it. I ain't gonna tell you when, but I'm gonna do it. So he already knows it's coming. He already know that naval base that they've got there is being put in place to house and send troops to Illinois. But don't be surprised. There's something being done, because the only holdup is the financial needs that Pritzker is going to have to meet in order to show there we have got this. And in that regard, Illinois does not have what California has. And that's the thing. But I do see in that 6 of Fire, that 6 of Wands, that there will be enough momentum nationally to try and support this effort in by Pritzker in Chicago, that somehow, some way they may find a way to funnel some money his way, and it may even be resources, people, etc. But he is going to continue. He will not buckle. He is going to continue to do as he's indicated and resist this, okay? All right, you all, take really good care. I'm about to hit the road again and do some travel. I'm blessed. I've got things with good friends and family and people who have shown up for me throughout my life, and supported me, and now they've got things going on, and so there's some places I need to show up, and our relationships are reciprocal. So but I will check in with you one way or another, and please take really good care of yourselves. You know how we do. That chin up. 500,000 to 1,000,000 people showed up despite whatever circumstances may be going on. So look, we can do it, and it's certainly in the privacy of our own space, no matter where we're going, how we're moving. Chin up, shoulders back. Know who you are. Deep, deep breaths. Keep your nervous system calm. Speak it to other people. Remind other people, especially when we get ratcheted up. Can you believe? Oh yeah, I do it all the time, but then I bring it right back. All right, you all. Thank you so much. I appreciate you to the fullest, and I will check in with you real soon. Bye.